All right, we've got Febechi Nwaiwu.
How's everybody doing?
We're going to go to questions in person first. We'll start with Bob Prisbillo here on the left, third one in.
Febechi, we've heard a lot about the night before the Tennessee game, Kevin Wilson giving a speech. Just why do you think, or what did he exactly say? Why do you think that resonated so much during the final month?
He called out the BS in the air. He called out just, where everybody knew that we weren't playing to the standard of the school, that we all knew that we could put more in and bring more out. And I think him calling it out, and especially hearing it from a coach with, his type of stature and his history, coaching at Ohio State, being the old coach here, it really made us realize, the standard that we weren't upholding and the standard that we had to get back to.
Okay, next we'll go to Jesse Crittenden.
Crittenden, OU Insider. Febechi, obviously you got a game on Friday, but just throughout the course of the season as an older guy in this offensive line, what's it been like to watch this group, young guys that came in this year, deal with some injuries, go through ups and downs, and just get to this point? What has stood out about the growth of that group?
I mean, the growth of this group has been, phenomenal. We have a lot of young guys that had to step up and, be a big role for this team. And, they did an incredible job. I'm extremely hard on those guys, but I'm extremely proud of them. The way, this is a hard league, the way that they've been able to step up and been reliable in critical moments and, help us get to a winning season. I'm extremely proud of them.
Okay, right side, let's go to Ryan Aber.
Ryan Aber, Sooners on this side. Febechi, what has it meant to you to not only develop into a big piece of this offensive line, but to do it with the consistency that you've been able to do it, even shifting positions like you did the last game?
It means a lot to me. That's something I worked on this whole offseason, just trying to be a consistent player. That's why I try to pride myself in. I try to come in every day, even if I'm not playing the best, with the same mindset and the same attitude. I'm trying to be consistent in all parts of my life. So I feel like, once you try to do that, it bleeds over into, every aspect. So I feel like, waking up the right way, coming into practice with the right energy, going to sleep the right way, eating the right way, being consistent in everything outside of football helps you, be consistent in football. And, the feeling that, I'm a guy that the team can rely on is an incredible feeling. I thank God for putting me in this position. And, I'm grateful for, my teammates feeling like they can look up to me, and my coaches feeling like they can look to me.
Let's go to Ryan Chapman.
You asked about the young guys. I wanted to ask about Ryan Febechi specifically. Just what have you seen from him, not just from the moment he kicked back out to tackle, but then just as you shifted over, he had to shift over, be able to handle moving back and forth and all that stuff for him this year?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that guy, he's a guy that's had a lot of growth. That's one of the main guys I would say he has a lot of growth. Him, Fasusi, Eddie Pierre-Louis, those guys, especially him, like you said, he started at tackle, he started at guard at the beginning of the season, moved to tackle, played a couple of games, and then now going back to guard. They're asking a lot of him, and he's stepping up. We're all helping each other out every way we can. He's going to be a great player for here in the future, and I expect a lot of great things from him. Just because he's moving around doesn't mean the standard doesn't change for him. And I know he knows that, and I know he's going to uphold that.
Okay, Colton Sully next.
Colton Sully, the Oklahoman. Febechi, you mentioned critical moments in games, and I just wanted to ask you about John and how you've sort of seen him come up big in those moments, and also how you've seen him prepare for this game the last couple of weeks.
John is a critical moment guy. Whenever it's time to step up, John's always there. John's a guy that we can always rely on. In these past couple of weeks, watching him prepare, watching how methodical he's been in his process, and just the way he's, attacking this game has been incredible to watch. It gives me, things to work on. It gives me inspiration. I know the team feels it. John's an incredible leader. Again, he's a guy that we look up to in critical moments, and he's a guy that we know that can deliver in those critical moments.
Okay, we'll go to George Stoya next.
Hey, Febechi, I know when you came to Oklahoma, you knew what you were signing up for with Bill Beatenbow, but what's it been like these last 2 years learning from Bill, and how much has he, elevated your game?
I think Bill, Coach B, helped me change my game completely. I think he's developed me into a way better player than I was coming in here. And, he's a hard coach, but, I love hard coaching. So his coaching style, I feel like, actually fits really well with, the way that I process information. And, it helps me push myself and not be satisfied with, just having a block, but really wanting to dominate and be technical and, understand all aspects of the game. Coach B emphasizes, understanding football and knowing football because it makes you a better player, and he's right, it does. And I think that's what changed about my game the most. He's helped me understand the game and just understand the offense and understand what we're trying to do, so it, translates into my blocking.
Okay, Febechi, we're going to go in the way back standing. Carson Field.
Carson Field, Sooners on SI. Febechi, what was it like going out to the Burlsworth ceremony, being there with Drew, who plays at your former school, and then Michael, who you've now played against a couple of times?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I was extremely blessed and honored to be even considered, a semifinalist, much less a finalist. The Burlsworth, that's an incredible award, and again, extremely grateful to be over there. It was a lot of fun. Those guys being in the room, surrounded with a lot of like-minded people, a lot of people that had to, work like I did, starting as a walk-on. And it was really inspirational. Seeing stories that, that were like, man, I just thank God for my story. Drew didn't even play as a high school player. Michael Tabb, even though he's from Texas, he's a great player. That guy, he didn't play his first 2 years at Texas either. And just being in that room and even the other players in that room, and just the story that Brandon Burlsworth had, and being able to experience that firsthand, not just through a text or through a online post or a movie or reading up on it, just really experiencing the culture and the history back there. Was a great experience. Loved it.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Febechi. Appreciate it.
Perfect. Thank you, guys.